Good evening. It's Tuesday, June 28th, and I would like to call the regular council meeting in the city of Twinsburg to order. Shannon, please call the roll.
Mr. Scafidi?
Here.
Mr. Fury? Mrs. Walker?
Present.
Mrs. Labby? Here. Mr. Bellin?
Here.
Mr. Post?
Here.
Mr. Barr?
Okay, next we'll move on to invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance. Tonight will be led by Mayor Ted Yates.
Heavenly Father, we come to you today asking for your guidance, wisdom, and support as we begin this meeting. Help us to engage in meaningful discussion, allow us to grow closer as a group, and nurture the bonds of community. Fill us with your grace as we make decisions that affect all of our residents and businesses and our dedicated city employees. Bless those away who are serving to protect our country. We all ask all these things in your name. Amen.
Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next, we have the approval of the regular council meeting minutes from June 14th. Anybody would like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the regular council meeting minutes from June 14th as submitted.
Mr. Bellin moves. Is there a second?
I second.
Mrs. Walker seconds.
Yes.
Any discussion? Shannon, call the roll.
Mr. Bellin?
Yes.
Mrs. Walker?
Yes.
Mrs. Labby? Yes. Mr. Post?
Yes.
Mr. Scafidi?
Yes. Okay, finally, we're at this point, which I didn't think it would be coming this soon. But tonight is Mayor Yates' last council meeting, and I'd like to give him a proclamation. If you'd like to come, council, would like to present that to you. Mayor, would you come up? Brought my glasses tonight because this thing's long. I got a lot to read. Don't wear them. Okay. Whereas the administration, council, and residents of the city of Twinsburg, Ohio extend well wishes to Ted Yates on his new role as village manager of Isle Morada, Florida. And whereas Ted graduated from Solon High School, he graduated with his bachelor's degree in accounting from Kent State University and master's of business administration degree from Cleveland State University. Ted received his Juris Doctorate from Cleveland Marshall College of Law, and whereas Ted served on the Parks and Recreation Commission from February 1st, 2008 till March 31st, 2010, and was also a member of City Council from December 15th, 2009 through November 30th of 2015. He moved to his role as the city's mayor, public safety director on December 1st, 2015. And whereas Ted led the city in the COVID global pandemic with caution and extreme care for the employees and the city residents, providing a vaccination pop-up site. Ted worked with council regarding the CARES and Summit County Payroll Relief Fund spending, which includes touchless bathroom upgrades, thermal temperature kiosks, small business grants, personal protective equipment, social distancing furniture, fire PPE and CPR machines, and payroll relief for the police and fire departments. And whereas Ted has developed a strong personal interest in pickleball and has been an advocate for improvements for the parks and recreation facilities and programs, Ted helped Twinsburg get awarded a $338,000 grant to update Glen Chamberlain Park, one of Twinsburg's oldest and most heavily used recreational areas in the city. Ted also helped the city transition from fully insured to self-insured plan in 2021, which decreased our rates by 31.54%. And whereas Ted has resided in Twinsburg for over 25 years with his wife Sharon, he has two sons, Andrew and Brad, and one daughter, Emily, all who graduated from Twinsburg City Schools. Ted has led his life and career based on his Christian faith. Now, therefore, City Council expresses well wishes and congratulations to Ted Yates on his new role as village manager for Isle Morada, Florida. May Ted continue to serve as a shining example of leadership and professionalism, and we look forward to hearing about his many successful years ahead. Ted, congratulations. Thank you very much.
side of it. I've been doing these for years, people in the community, and I thank council for this and your support over the years. I mean, this is sometimes a thankless job, and I know being on council, I spent 6 years there, and also be that also, but we do work together as a team, and we try to do what we think is in the best interest of the city. Sometimes residents don't agree with us, and sometimes we make mistakes, but we love the city and we're passionate about what we do and the role that we play. I'm going to have a difficult time breaking away from a lot of the employees that I've got to know here. I mean, it's been a very special place. We've got great staff at the city, and they've all become good friends, and we have fun and we laugh, and even in the challenging times, we enjoy coming to work every day and doing what we do for our residents. Improving the quality of life for people in a community. There's to me nothing more rewarding. So I'm going to miss Twinsburg greatly. Our family was we started our family here. All our kids were born here, went through the school system. This is an interesting stage of our life, and I'm excited about what's going to God has put in front of us. I'm looking forward to this change, but also this will always be called home to us. So, and I'll be back, so I'll probably pop into some council meetings, and you'll see me around town when we're visiting. But I do thank everyone for what they've done for me over the last 7 years, and I appreciate this for tonight. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, next we will move on to audience participation. Shannon.
First, we have Sue Clark.
Sue, could you turn, please? Yeah. Okay, good.
Got it. Good evening, council, mayor, law director. Sue Clark, 9845 Crestwood Drive. I'd like to talk about how we care. Some of you were on council when these things occurred, and some of you were not. I got involved when the sober home was going to be put in my neighborhood. The mayor and the past law director chose to get a second legal opinion for the residents. What they did not tell the residents is that the law firm they chose, that the law director was special counsel to the gentleman who wrote the opinion, and the person opening the home was a partner in the firm for 7 years. But we care. Residents that come and talk about these issues in the city, like cutting grass, potholes, signs, snowplow permits, have come to talk about these things like the snowplow permit for 16 months before we got the decal. He is still talking about grass cutting and signs, but we care. 2 council members asked my girlfriend and I for a sit down at Panera's Bread. We shared concerns about the cities. You both said that you would be in touch, but never called, but we care. 2 residents came and begged you to not put the 4.9 mils on our property taxes during a pandemic, but you did it anyways. So we had to get a referendum petition in the streets to get you to listen to us, but we care. My personal information was used in a council meeting by a councilman. He was never gavelled or told to be quiet by any of the administration. I had asked to have a council meeting afterwards, but it never happened. But we care. The same councilman took a post from Facebook and put it on the overhead projector. He blacked out some of the names of the residents, but the ones he wanted to bully, he did not black out. He never was gavelled or told to be quiet by the administration, but we care. The residents from Old Mill came to talk to you about the biggest investment they will ever make, their homes. They were denied their freedom of speech. They were only allowed to be able to talk about it 3 times during the meeting, but we care. An employee from the city was able to bully one of these residents, call him out by name, but she was never gavelled or told to be quiet by the administration. The resident was not able to respond, and a cop was brought in. But we care. I was raised in a home where my parents said, "Your actions speak louder than your words." When your actions align with your words, then we may start to think you care. Thank you, Council.
Thank you.
Next we have Bruce Baldwin.
Good evening, Council. Good luck to you. I heard you say you may be back. I told you I'd buy you a one-way ticket. Fuel costs gone up. First community money, I'm running low on an ADC. They're going to cheat me out of that, looks like, so good luck.
I'm going to miss you, Bruce.
Yeah, I'm sure you are. Good luck. I mean that really. Okay, first of all, I want to say good job on Haddon Road repair. Whoever did it, I mean, I'd recommend it. And also mowing the lawn at the Blue Top and also property east of Blue Top. Second, I can't remember any year of properties not being mowed for whatever reason. In Twinsburg, I never remember properties. Most people are taking care of them. It just seems like this year it's sporadic in different areas. I don't know if people are running a little bit low on money, or I mean, what they maybe have a personal problem. I don't know. I talked about this before. Cars sitting in residents' houses for how long without stickers? I worked for a man on Liberty Road. He had a '56 Ford, black and white car sitting in his driveway in front of his garage. Police officer Lowry stopped and told Mr. Perry he's been in the driveway for 1.5 weeks with no plates. As I said, could he please move? He couldn't be nicer the way he put it. That was a week and a half, and that impressed me that they were following up. At that time, they had plates, not stickers. But even as an 18-year-old kid still in school, probably should have been out of school, but anyway, they felt good about it, that they took that much knowledge of watching to get that car. But now you got one sitting around here for years. And I mean years, not just 1, 2, 3 years. Also, I believe that the old Millsville restaurant at the corner of 91 Depot Street behind the building, who is actually responsible for this? It looks like a fire hazard back there. I brought this up probably 3 times or 4 times. I always wait before I bring it up again, because I know it takes time to do this, and I understand that.
Which property?
But this,
What was the property?
the old Millsville, across from Liberty Solvents. Was that?
That's fine.
Oh, okay, well, thank you, Council. Good evening. Take care of yourself and each other. Good night.
Thank you, Mr. Baldwin.
Thank you, sir.
Next we have Chuck Bonacci.
Good evening, Council.
Hi, Chuck.
Good evening, Mayor. I'd like to provide a brief update. Chuck Bonacci, 11327 Heritage Drive. I'm here tonight to give a little update about our most recent document shredding event. We had 34 lifts, bins going into the truck. That equates to over 7,000 pounds of material that's going to be diverted from the landfills and be recycled into more paper. Also, it helps protect personal information, checking account numbers, social security numbers, whatever people were shredding. It was important documents that it was time for them to be disposed, and shredding was the best way to go. We serviced about 160 cars. We provided information about water and storm management and native plants and rain gardens and a whole bunch of other environmental stuff. Thank you for supporting this event. I realize that not everyone was available this past Saturday. So Summit Reworks is hosting a document shredding on July 9th in Macedonia. And that's going to be from 9 to noon at Longwood Park. So that might be a great opportunity for folks that missed this previous event. Summertime is a busy time. And that's essentially as local as it is in Twinsburg. It's about 3 seconds outside of our city. And then lastly, I would like to thank the mayor for supporting the Environmental Commission and for helping this city become a little bit more environmentally friendly. On your watch, most of the light fixtures in this town have been updated to LEDs, saving money, but more importantly than saving money, saving energy during an energy crisis. The cost of fuel is one energy that we see at the fuel pump, but the cost of electricity and every other form of energy has increased, and having LED lights helps us as a city be a little bit more environmentally friendly and probably saves the bottom line a little bit too. There were other upgrades to energy too. At the fitness center, there was air handling system was improved, and it's a little bit more efficient than it was before. you helped us get vehicle charging stations. When I first was assigned or appointed to the Environmental Commission, we had a representative from Tesla come out. Daisy, do you remember this? He gave us a brief, and then he came to City Council and he gave a brief about the importance of vehicle charging stations and how if you don't have charging stations, eventually your city's going to be left out of the loop. So we have charging stations at City Hall, at the Twinsburg Pool, on the square, and then at the golf course. Thank you for helping the city get those things. And then another environmental thing is the hybrid police cars. Around the same time, I sarcastically came up here and said, it would be great if the vehicles that get the most mileage were a little bit more efficient, and maybe the city could buy super fast Teslas. Instead, they got really cool Ford Explorers that are hybrids. And I remember reading about when those hybrid or cars were put into service, the fuel savings essentially was going to pay for the vehicle. So thank you for initiating those endeavors along the lines of supporting the Environmental Commission's work. Our next, at the next City Council meeting, I'll be back with a formal presentation to talk about what the Environmental Commission learned about recycling and our curbside recycling program and ways that we as residents could help make that program a little bit better.
Thanks, Chuck.
Thanks, Chuck.
Next, we have Brian Steele.
Brian Steele, 8684 Gettysburg Drive. Good evening, Council. Good evening, Mayor. Good luck. I'm envious that you're going to have a continuous tan forever. Isle Morada is a beautiful place. My wife Cindy and I went to the city shredding event last Saturday. It was nice to safely dispose of unneeded personal and business records. We believe this was organized by the Environmental Commission, whose members were handing out pamphlets. I would first like to thank the organizers, as it is truly a beneficial event for the citizens of our city. One of the pamphlets that I was given is titled, Taking Root for Clean Water. Right here. Okay. So being the inquisitive person that I am, I sat in my car and I read it. It has a picture on here of a forest. At the top it says, Taking Root for Clean Water. At the bottom it says, planting trees and native plants helps to keep our water clean. I couldn't help thinking about the Old Mill Road development as I read this pamphlet. There seems to be a disconnect between our council and our volunteer Environmental Commission board members. It appears to me that our Environmental Commission cares more about the city's clean water than some members of this council and our current administration. One councilman has told the Old Mill residents to be neighborly to the development. Another has stated the council does care about the Old Mill residents. Yet the residents of Old Mill Road have not been given the information from the city that they have requested in public records requests, have not had certain concerns addressed, and have not been able to even voice their questions and concerns to their full satisfaction. These reasons alone have caused these residents to believe that the city doesn't care. How neighborly has the developer been to the residents? Has the developer really addressed their concerns about their drinking water? Drinking water, I think, is the number one concern of those people. The residents that I've spoken to on Old Mill, they don't believe he has. My conversation with these Old Mill residents have shown me that these are reasonable people. They are knowledgeable about their environment. They understand the land is zoned in a certain way. But they also feel that compromise and adjustments could have been proposed to satisfy both the residents and the developer. They do not feel that our city officials tried to steer the conversations with the developer in that direction. The feeling they did get was the feeling that their concerns and questions were being a bother to our city government. That just wanted to push that development through quickly. There was an us against them, government against the residents attitude that prevailed, and this needs to stop. When people walk away from their government officials with a feeling of not having been heard or considered, then mistrust of government begins. And it's hard to get that trust back, folks. Does this council really care about these residents, or are you more concerned about a possible lawsuit
1 minute.
if the developer doesn't get what he wants? I believe the Corbett's Farm development was in court for several years until the city and the developer reached an agreement on the housing density for the development. The city recently gave another developer 17 variances because our city planners didn't like the building he wanted to build. That building required no variances to be built. When there is a possibility of the development affecting aquifers and clean water, I believe that more attention should be given to ensure the safety of our clean water. There are already 3 contaminated aquifers in the on the US EPA Superfund list in the state of Ohio. I would like to conclude by urging council to take action for the future to tighten up our laws about any development that occurs on aquifers used for drinking water. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Brian.
I'm jealous.
Next, we have Sheila Williams.
I have 2 folks. I'm gonna come first as a person who works in the city. Then I'll do my resident time. So I'm gonna make it quick though. You are the 3rd mayor that I've had the opportunity to work with. When I first moved into the city, Jim Carrabeck was mayor. And when I was building my home, he personally oversaw the building plans because he told him he didn't want any foolishness out of me down here at City Hall. When Kathy became mayor, we talked about the police department and got the runaround. And then you became mayor. And I remember the first conversation we had, and we talked about, I didn't want us in the paper. I didn't want to open up the paper or turn on the TV or anything because we had been there when Kathy was mayor and we were trying to resolve some of that. And one thing I will say about you, when people ask me about you, that you are a Christian. And that goes a long way, whether people realize that or not. I really feel that there are decisions that you've made in this city that you may not have agreed with, but they were for the best. You've made appointments that were not favorable. You don't have a high ranking at times, but I don't think any of the other 2 did either. It's a hard job, and you've done it with dignity, and I appreciate that. I'm going to miss you. I'm going to miss seeing you. You know, you've been my hero in some things behind the scenes that is our inside joke. And I wish you and your family nothing but the best. I've been here 40 plus years, and I've seen a lot of change. And each one of you have left a legacy. Good or bad, the golf course is yours. And in 10 years, it'll be good because somebody else will make another ugly that somebody else will be complaining about. So that should make you feel good when you pick up the paper and you hear somebody talk about what's going on in Twinsburg. To council, as we're getting ready to make these changes, I'm going to say to all of you that all of you work for us. And it's not always easy and it's not always agreeable, but I think it's very important at this transitional stage, and that's what I'm going to call this. Twinsburg is in a transitional state right now, that we all do what's best for the total community. We don't have to agree, we don't have to like each other, but every decision that we make should be for the betterment of the total community. Now I'm gonna speak as a resident. I didn't like you when 91 and the roundabout went behind me. I think I sat back there with a sign and I'd be boo, boo, boo. but I've learned to adjust to it. As a resident, I've watched Twinsburg grow. I've been here long enough to where Corbin Farm had a Rottweiler that waded in the water, and you could see the dog just swimming. And now I see $1-million homes, $500,000 homes across the street. I was here when Ethan's and Brian can vouch and Turl, where we were down at Dodge selling it as a resident because it was the first planned community in Northern Ohio. I have a love-hate affair with Twinsburg. And as I'm looking at our changes now, it's really an anxiety now. And I've expressed that to people because it's grown so much. And it's such a melting pot. 40 years ago when I moved here, and I'll say it, blacks only lived in certain areas in this city and the township. And Daisy knows what I'm talking about. And I have watched this community change as a resident, where I can say I have lived all over this city. And only here recently have I felt like an outsider. Prior to that, I've been welcomed. And I just want to say thank you again. Thank you to council. I know everyone sitting here and most of the people here in this audience. And there is an accountability that I will continue to hold you to, and I don't have a problem calling the new possible mayor come Friday, unless he changes his mind. I know where to find him too. And I think that we're all excited for you, but we're also excited for the possibilities here in Twinsburg. And I just ask that everyone think about that as we move forward. And while you're down there in the sun and basking, and 6,500 residents, you should be able to do that with your eyes closed. And everyone should love you. And if they don't, I'll hear about it, and I'll send you an email.
Please do.
Enjoy.
Thanks, Sheila.
Thank you, Sheila.
And last, we have Michael Turl.
I'm just working on bullet points tonight. Should be pretty easy here. Michael A. Turl, 99304 Forest Lake Drive, Twinsburg, Ohio. Good evening, council and mayor interim, Mr. Yates. Before we start, have the rules changed since our last council meeting that I don't know about? Because they were trying to get changed or something, and when I was in caucus, because I thought we were going to have a back and forth, and you telling me that you know how it works, and then I'm just want to make sure, because I'm trying to make sure I follow everything. So we're still where we were. Okay, thank you.
5 minutes.
Yes. Okay, so 5 minutes starting. I would like to first of all thank Mrs. Labey, Mrs. Walker, for having the courage and the bravery to stand up and vote with your conscience, with your heart, and vote for what you felt was right. I could genuinely see the pain on Mrs. Labey's face as these people were talking. She wasn't just listening to words, she was feeling what they were saying. She's picturing herself in their situation. Mrs. Walker walked the property. I'm sure she had some stylish looking boots on too, she always does. But she was there, she was with the people. She listened to them. They know this is not right, period. There's something that I still don't get. The road that never got put in, the planning commission back in the 80s said any future development must have access to Route 91. Any, that doesn't mean a little bit or some or kind of. Any future development on these properties must have access to Route 91 and not go through Old Mill Road. Must. That means that's not like, well, maybe kind of, sort of. You guys all ignored that. Well, the ladies didn't. Everybody else did. Well, not you guys, But it was ignored. Not even acknowledged or addressed. And why are we finding ways to do everything for the developer and we're not standing up for our residents? That really gets under my craw. But I do have petitions that I am circulating if you ladies would be interested in signing. If anyone's interested in signing, I have petitions. I'm not allowed to bring them into council chambers because you're not allowed to have campaign materials within a public building.
And that's another reason why I asked if the rules have changed, because when you guys passed issue 2 a couple years ago, Mr. Fury comes in here and he's got signs on either side, oh, vote for issue 2 and this and that, and vote yes, clear as a bell. Ms. McFerrin gavelled me. I said, this is my council meeting too, But I was going to bring the sign in for Old Mill Road because the big point I want to make is there are no disclosures on these signs. So I was really hoping to get this point across to Mr. Fury because he just loves to send me down to Columbus. I've been down there twice. He lost both times. The second time, the first time he didn't drive to Columbus. The second time, he couldn't even show up for a Zoom meeting. It was nothing but plain outright harassment is all it was. And if he wants to send me down to Columbus, again, I am not part of any committee. I am not part of any group or organization or anything. I am helping my neighbors on Old Mill Road. The signs that they have right now are paid for by private residents. There will be more signs. They'll probably be paid for by more private residents. And if Mr. Fury wants to harass me again and send me down, and you guys never once gavelled Mr. Fury or stopped him from putting people on his Jumbotron over here and harassing private residents. What kind of behavior is this from you guys? And you want us to trust you? You want us to work with you? It's a new year, Sam. Council President, excuse me. It's not a new year. It's more the same. It's rinse and repeat.
1 minute.
It's rinse and repeat is all it is. And do you really want to hear from your people? You didn't want to hear from Old Mill Road. Certainly haven't wanted to hear from me from all those years, but I know I've been a pain in your side. But it's not right. So if anybody would be interested in signing a petition, I do have a petition. We're down at Giannino's all week, 6 to 8. I'll come and meet you ladies if you want. I'd love to speak with you. Yeah, and if Bill wants to take me down to Columbus, he'll lose a third time, and he'll lose even worse, just like the rezoning on the corner of 91 and when the residents told you once we didn't want this property rezoned, and a second time, and then the third time, and then we spent how much money of city tax dollars, of my tax dollars, that should be going to police and fire pensions or something useful. Instead, you spent money on campaigning for that with a really high-tech video. So are you guys really for the residents, or are you really for the developers?
Time.
It's hard to say
Time.
that we believe you care. Thank you very much.
Next.
That's all we have this evening.
That's it. Okay. We will move on to council communication and committee reports. Let's start with Mrs. Slatty.
Since we last met, I had 3 meetings scheduled and all were canceled. 'Tis the season for vacation, apparently. So I have no report tonight. Thank you.
That's it? Okay, thank you. Mr. Bellin.
Thank you. Good evening. I attended this evening's Finance Committee meeting. We had discussions about the 2023 appropriations process as well as the capital improvements process. Once again, we will be doing a temporary budget in November of this year, as we've done in the past. We will then in January, February, and March do department head presentations, and we will pass our final budget in March of 2023. We also had an update from Mrs. Buchgras about RETA collections. We are up 9.13 year over year, which is very nice. We also learned that we had a final determination on the Glen Eagles property tax. I know there's been some question about that. The 2019 and 2020 tax and penalties are being forgiven. The 2021 property tax will be reduced and the penalty has been removed. And then 2022 and beyond will we build only the taxable portion of the facility. So that is just the portions of the facility that is being run, the restaurant and the banquet facility. The next meeting of the Finance Committee will be on Tuesday, August 23rd at 6 p.m. here in Council Chambers. The next meeting of the Safety Committee will be on Tuesday, July 12th here in Chambers. The next Gulf Advisory Board meeting will be on July 19th at 6:30 p.m. here in Chambers. And the next Public Works meeting will be on Tuesday, November 8th at 6 p.m. also here in Council Chambers. Thank you, sir. Nothing further this evening.
Thank you very much. Mrs. Walker.
Good evening, everyone. My committees have not met yet, but I did attend the finance meeting that we had earlier today. Thank you. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you. On my committee reports, the Board of Zoning Appeals met back on the last Wednesday here in Council Chambers. We had appeal number 4, 2022. That was Verizon Wireless applied to permit the construction of an 8-foot-high security fence at 2000 Highland Road, located in the I-3 heavily industrial district. Currently, according to sections 1164.01, the highest fence that can be constructed is 6 foot, so they needed a variance to go to 8 foot. The Board of Zoning Appeals went through it, and they voted 4-0 to approve that variance for them. So at this time, I would like to make a motion that we waive the 30-day waiting period on appeal number 4, 2022. Do I have a second?
A second.
Mr. Bell, seconds. Discussion. Shannon Cole.
Mr. Scafidi?
Yes.
Mr. Bellin?
Yes.
Mr. Post?
Yes.
Mrs. Walker?
Yes.
Mrs. Labby?
Yes.
Okay, that passes. And that's it for Board of Zoning Appeals. I also attended the Finance Committee meeting earlier this evening, and Mr. Bellin gave the minutes from that. And that's all I have at this time. We'll move on to Mr. Post.
Thank you. I attended the finance meeting as well this evening. We've already heard about that from Mr. Bellin. The capital improvements meeting will be on August 30th, and Public Works is 11/18, November 8th. I just want to say for the Environmental Commission, we've already talked about the paper shredding a little bit. And last week, the Environmental Commission went to a recycling plant. We learned so much about recycling. I don't want to talk too much about it because Mr. Bonacci, in a couple weeks, at our next meeting, is going to give a full presentation with pictures and show exactly what we learned. But so many people say, "Oh, there's no need to recycle. None of that stuff really gets recycled." It all gets recycled, and it was amazing to see how much of it really does get recycled. The biggest takeaway that we got was recycling what is the correct stuff versus the incorrect stuff, and the right way to recycle, and not the correct way to recycle. And so one of the reasons the Environmental Commission went was to learn that and to educate the community. And so that's our task now, is to let everyone know how to recycle. And like I said, in a couple weeks, Chuck Bonacci is going to come here and show everyone what we learned, and I'm so excited to see that. It was so awesome to see it. It was just a huge pile of garbage. It was amazing. So, all right, and that's my report.
Okay, thanks. Next, we will move on to the mayor's report. Mayor Yates.
I have really no report this evening. Just want to thank council again for the proclamation. I want to thank all the residents, for the ones that are watching, that have reached out to me personally. It means a lot to myself, to my family, the support that I've had over the years as mayor. I want to thank the ones that I've never met that stopped me in the grocery store or at CVS and congratulate me and give me well wishes. This has been a fun ride. All its ups and downs I will miss. All of the positive support we've had, all of the adversarial support we've had, I will miss it all. So I just thank the community for this opportunity, because it is unique, and it is an honor to serve as mayor, and hopefully I've lived up to that honor, and one day I can look back and hopefully have made some kind of difference here at Twinsburg. So that's all I have, and we have no department head reports this evening. We're giving them all a break this evening.
Okay. All right. No department heads. All right, next we will move on to legislation. Ordinance 61, 2022.
An ordinance adopting the tax budget of the City of Twinsburg, Ohio for the fiscal year beginning January 1st, 2023, and submitting the same to the county auditor.
Okay, that's ordinance 61, 2022 stands on its second reading. Ordinance 66, 2022.
An ordinance amending the current year appropriations for the general revenue account as established in Ordinance 15, 2022, the appropriation ordinance for the City of Twinsburg for the year 2022, and declaring an emergency.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion that we suspend the rules and place ordinance 66, 2022 on its third and final reading and declare an emergency. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Post, second. Discussion. Call the roll.
Mr. Scafidi?
Yes.
Mr. Post?
Yes.
Mrs. Labby?
Yes.
Mr. Bellin?
Yes.
Mrs. Walker?
Yes.
Okay, that motion passes 5.
That's the emergency.
Yeah, 5-0. Next, I would like to make a motion that we adopt ordinance 66, 2022 as an emergency. Is there a second?
I second.
Mrs. Walker seconds. Discussion. Call the roll, please.
Mr. Scafidi?
Yes.
Mrs. Walker?
Yes.
Mr. Bellin?
Yes.
Mr. Post?
Yes.
Mrs. Labby?
Yes.
Okay, ordinance 66, 2022 passes 5-0. We have ordinance 67, 2022.
An ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into a supply agreement with Interstate Gas Supply Incorporated to continue the natural gas aggregation program when the current supply agreement ends and declaring an emergency.
Okay, at this time, I'd like to make a motion to suspend the rules and place ordinance 67, 2022 on its third and final reading. Do I have a second?
A second.
Mr. Bellin seconds. Discussion. Call the roll.
Mr. Scafidi?
Yes.
Mr. Bellin?
Yes.
Mrs. Labby?
Yes.
Mr. Post?
Yes.
Mrs. Walker?
Yes.
Okay, now I'd like to make a motion to adopt ordinance 67, 2022 as an emergency. Can I get a second?
I'll
I
second.
will, you,
Mr. Bellin seconds. Discussion. Call the roll.
Mr. Scafidi?
Yes.
Mr. Bellin?
Yes.
Mrs. Labby?
yes.
Mrs. Walker?
Yes.
Mr. Post?
Yes.
Okay, ordinance 67, 2022 passes 5-0. Finally, we have ordinance 68, 2022.
An ordinance directing the Summit County Board of Elections to hold a special election concurrent with the regular general election on November 8th, 2022, to fill the vacancy in the office of mayor in accordance with Section 4.04, vacancy in the office of mayor of the Charter of the City of Twinsburg, and declaring an emergency.
At this time, I'd like to make a motion that we suspend the rules and place ordinance 68, 2022 on its third and final reading and declare an emergency. Is there a second?
I will second.
I yield.
Ms. Labby seconds. Discussion. Call the roll.
Mr. Scafidi?
Yes.
Mrs. Labby?
Yes.
Mrs. Walker?
Yes.
Mr. Post?
Yes.
Mr. Bellin?
Yes.
Okay, now I'd like to make a motion to adopt ordinance 68, 2022 as an emergency. May I have a second?
Second.
Mrs. Walker seconds. Discussion. Call the roll.
Mr. Scafidi?
Yes.
Mrs. Walker?
Yes.
Mr. Post?
Yes.
Mrs. Labby?
Yes.
Mr. Bellin?
Yes.
Okay, ordinance 68, 2022 passes 5-0. We have ordinance 69, 2022.
An ordinance authorizing the city engineer to prepare and submit an application to participate in the Ohio Public Works Commission State Capital Improvement Program and to execute contracts as required for the Ethan's Green Sewer Outfall Lining Project and declaring an emergency.
Okay, at this time, I'd like to make a motion that we suspend the rules and place ordinance 69, 2022 on its third and final reading and declare it an emergency. May I have a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Post, second. Discussion. Call the roll.
Mr. Scafidi?
Yes.
Mr. Post?
Yes.
Mrs. Labby?
Yes.
Mr. Bellin?
Yes.
Mrs. Walker?
Yes.
Okay, now I'd like to make a motion to adopt ordinance 69, 2022 as an emergency. Can I get a second?
I will second.
Mrs. Labby seconds. Discussion. Call the roll.
Mr. Scafidi?
Yes.
Mrs. Labby?
Yes.
Mr. Post?
Yes.
Mrs. Walker?
Yes.
Mr. Bellin?
Yes.
Okay, ordinance 69, 2022 passes 5-0. Ordinance 70, 2022.
An ordinance authorizing the city engineer to prepare and submit an application to participate in the Ohio Public Works Commission State Capital Improvement Program and to execute contracts as required for the Glenwood Drive Water Line Project and declaring an emergency.
Okay, at this time, I'd like to make a motion to suspend the rules on ordinance 70, 2022, place it on its third and final reading, and declare it an emergency. May I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Bellin seconds. Discussion. Call the roll.
Mr. Scafidi?
Yes.
Mr. Bellin?
Yes.
Mrs. Labby?
Yes.
Mrs. Walker?
Yes.
Mr. Post?
Yes.
Okay, next I would like to make a motion to adopt ordinance 70, 2022 as an emergency. May I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Bellin seconds. Discussion. Call the roll.
Mr. Scafidi?
Yes.
Mr. Bellin?
Yes.
Mr. Post?
Yes.
Mrs. Labby?
Yes.
Mrs. Walker?
Yes.
Okay, ordinance 70, 2022 passes 5-0. Next, we will move, that ends our legislation. We will move on to unfinished new business and miscellaneous business. Let's start with Mr. Bellin.
Thank you. Mayor Yates, it has been a pleasure serving with you. I consider it a huge loss for the city of Twinsburg that you're moving forward, but I wish you nothing but the best in your future endeavors. I will miss our discussions. I will miss your friendship, your leadership, not only professionally, but personally as well. Best of luck to you and your family. Mr. Scafidi, you have some big shoes to fill, but I have the utmost confidence that we're in good hands.
Thank you.
Nothing further. Thank you.
Thanks, Greg.
Thank you. Mrs. Walker.
Good evening, everyone. I just want say to the mayor that in the neighborhood, my street where I live, they call you my assistant pastor. They call me the pastor. And so I went to, there was an open house at this necessity spa, I think it was. And the owner wants the mayor and myself to come and bless their necessity spa. So I want to say, Assistant Pastor, you have to come. It'll probably be sometime next week. And so you and I can both bless that property together. And I also want to say that I'm going to truly miss you. You have been so helpful on my journey, being on council. I love your family, your wife, just great people. And we need more people like you in the city of Twinsburg. But I wish you the best. God bless you. God bless you, Sharon, and your family. Thank you for being a part of my life.
Thanks, Daisy.
Okay, that's it.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Next, I would like to make a motion that City Council does not oppose the transfer of the liquor permit from SNB Enterprises LLC, doing business as Rush Hour, to Rush Hour Grill, to the Harmony LLC, doing business as Harmony Social, located at 10735 Ravenna Road, and authorize the clerk to submit the form to the Ohio Division of Liquor Control. May I have a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Bell, seconds. Discussion. Call roll.
Mr. Scafidi?
Yes.
Mr. Bellin?
Yes.
Mrs. Labby?
Yes.
Mrs. Walker?
Yes.
Mr. Post?
Yes.
Okay, and finally from me, Mayor Yates. It has been a pleasure to work with you. We go back from the very beginning, when you came on board, and I remember those early days when we had, you were a councilman, we had combined board meetings, you and I know we did at least one. We had a combined board meeting, and that was good for, as far as board meetings go. It's been nice working with you, and then as you moved on to become our mayor, I appreciate all you've done for the city and your dedication to the city. I know your heart's been here, and I always said that even when we were campaigning, your heart's in the right place, and I always felt that it was. And you did the best that you could in our community, and I appreciate all your hard work and wish you the best in your next chapter. You and your wife Sharon and your whole family down there in Florida. I wish you the best, and best of luck and best of health, and God be with you.
Thanks, Tim.
Okay. And that's all I have. David, please.
Nothing official. It's going down the line. It's mimicking everything they've said. I have not worked with you as long, but I've known you a long time, and I think we could all say we've learned a lot from you. I always like your demeanor, that you always keep it nice and normally even keel, and that's a good takeaway. And I know there's always people that say both ways, and they hear that, but like we talked about on the phone, I said personal growth is so important, and I'm so happy that you are taking this opportunity to do what you feel is right and go to that next chapter. And I'm so happy for you that it's awesome. Life's about experiences, and this new one's going to be an experience. So congratulations to all of you. So
Thanks, sir.
thank you, and I agree, Sam. Big shoes to fill, but we're very excited for you. All right.
Mrs. Wedding.
Hey, Sam. I just wanted to remind anyone if they wanted to play cornhole during Twins Days. It's open to the public, and you can register by 10 a.m. that morning. Also wanted to point out that Daisy and I are wearing our rainbow colors in support of Pride Month. We are both on the Jedi Committee, and I'd like to say that Pride Month, it was officially recognized by the U.S. government when President Clinton declared June 1999 Gay and Lesbian Pride Month. President Biden has further expanded the observance to LGBTQ Pride. And we'd like people to know that, especially in light of our Jedi Committee, that Twinsburg welcomes everybody. So we hope you all feel free here, and we welcome you all. I've known you since Brad was how big? This big on the basketball court with my little Nick. But I've learned a lot from you. I thank you for your support. This year has been a lot. And I wish you and Sharon and your family many, many happy years. Godspeed to you.
Thank you. Thanks, Karen.
Okay, Mayor Eads, final words.
I think I've said all I can say tonight, so thanks again. Sam, I wish you the best. It's a crazy job, but it's one of the most rewarding things you can ever do. So just dig in, learn all you can, and just treat people right. So
Thank you. I appreciate that. Mr. Bazan.
I wish the best, Mayor Yates, to enjoy all that sunshine out of Rana. Carry on the leadership traditions I think that you set here down south. And I look forward to working with you, Sam, as you become acting mayor.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
thanks.
Mrs. Bucci-Gross.
Yeah, best wishes to Mayor Yates and your family. And when we get into January, February, maybe send us some ocean pics. We could live vicariously.
Yes, please do.
Okay. I'll leave Shannon Collins.
Just wanted to say congratulations, Ted. I mean, basically share an office space with one wall in between us, but you've done a great job as mayor. I think you'll do a great job down there. Wish you guys the best of luck. Just happy for you guys.
Thank you.
Okay. I do have one final announcement with Mayor Yates' last day being this Friday, July 1st. I will be sworn in later that day as the mayor. Pursuant to Section 1105, in the absence of the president of council, the vice president shall then finish out the term until a new president is voted on at the December organizational meeting. So that's how this progression will happen. At this time, I'd like to make a motion to excuse our absent members, Mr. Barr and Mr. Fury. May I have a second?
I will second.
Mrs. Labby seconds. Discussion, council. Okay, call the roll.
Mr. Scafidi?
Yes.
Mrs. Labby?
Yes.
Mr. Bellin?
Yes.
Mrs. Walker?
Yes.
Mr. Post?
Yes.
Then at this time, I'd like to make a motion that our meeting be adjourned. Is there a second? Second. Second. Discussion. Call roll.
Mr. Scafidi?
Yes.
Mr. Post?
Yes.
Mr. Bellin?
Yes.
Mrs. Walker?
Yes.
Mrs. Labby?
Yes.
Okay. Our meeting is adjourned. Good night, everybody.